like once you realize you like there's a reason for 7-second delays. I mean, like, and he's pushing that shit like crazy. Of course, we'll go over that. Plus, compared to like what he did on Netflix, like it's just the whole thing.
Yeah, he brought the PG to. I mean, yeah, that was funny. And hey, we're here, we're live, we're recording, so we might as well talk about it. I am Crunk Chocolate, and this is my tag team partner in this podcasting game, my show, bro. Grego, how are you doing?
Bleep 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 bleep.
I think he said he's good. I'm not sure.
Allegedly.
I am actually doing a dry January, and I am just replacing all of the alcohol that I normally would drink with water.
What? Have I drank this year yet? I mean, trust me, the week that I just had, it might drive people to drink, but you know what? I'm trying to keep things in perspective because I mean we got people hurting right now. Like we got our homies out in LA that are just absolutely fighting for their lives right now, and we want to give our love to them. You know, like I said, a little snow coming my way. It's okay. Like I said, people out here fighting real life issues. So whatever you got with all these snowstorms, come bring it. I got my Raw on Netflix. I got my AEW on Max. I got my bleep 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 bleep, and like we good.
And let's even start there with Raw on Netflix. And just from the jump, you could see the difference in just the color definition on Netflix.
Oh, the cameras
popping.
The cameras.
They use those drones so many times. That stadium. Yeah. Shout out to the stadium. That Intuit Dome. That's a cool place. That's a state-of-the-art stadium.
Listen, the Intuit Dome. Like I said it on Blue Sky. Like that was low key the MVP of the show because, of course, this is the first WWE show that they've had because the arena just opened up this past fall for the Clippers, and of course everybody's been hearing about all like the way that the arena was set up, like they have the Halo board and everything, and I was like, this shit is fucking insane. Of course, and it takes a lot to impress me because of course I live here in Atlanta. I go to the Benz about 20 times a year for Atlanta United, and I was like, oh, and like to the point where I was like, they need to just go ahead and just uproot the Intuit Dome and just take it everywhere around the country and around the world, because just go ahead, just take it with you, put it in an empty cornfield, say, hey, pull up here for Raw, and everybody pulls up, and because like I don't think you can just go back to a regular arena after dealing with that. Like you can't go to the Hershey Civic Center dealing with that. You can't.
I think they need to figure out a way to make sure that no matter where they are, the fans are hype. And I think they will be.
The problem. It's just like all that they had as far as the presentation, the production quality. I was like of course, like they got new stage entrances. They brought in the aisleway, kind of like how they did for a Saturday Night's Main Event. Like, so everything's a lot closer now to the wrestlers. It's like they made sure that's like the experience that you have been getting before. We're on some new shit now, and I'm like you know what it kind of reminded me of. For those of y'all that don't remember, once upon a time, WrestleMania only used to be in basketball arenas. And now, mind you, when it was still WrestleMania, like you would still get the biggest presentation that the WWE could give you. Of course, since then they've moved to football arenas and football stadiums and everything. It's a whole bigger experience. But like this felt like a WrestleMania in a like it used to be. It was like all new stuff. Everything looked crazy. And it was like, again, like it looked absolutely incredible. Like, yeah, it was like that.
Yeah. And shout out to Paul Levesque being behind the curtain after the video.
Even that part, I'm like, dude, like,
oh my gosh, no! I stood up. I went, oh, that's the exact energy that you were doing in the.
I did that.
Yeah.
I did that. Now, are you ready?
Oh my gosh, no! It was perfect in the story, and immediately got to the shits with the storyline
with the bleep, with the final bleep. Remember, they brought him out first. They brought him out first.
Right. Well, yeah, and who else would it be?
Yeah, and can we touch on this real quick, because
go for it.
There's been a lot of kerfuffle about the Rock's the Rock period this week, which is on some other shit, but
yes.
But just that promo when it's up, because mind you, of course, we've just gone through this past year of the final boss and the Rock turning heel and everything, and but here on the Raw debut on Netflix, suddenly he's this, but I kind of like trying to be on this benevolent executive mode where like he's trying to be a babyface again. And mind you, to the point where apparently Cody Rhodes was in the crowd for some crazy reason. That's a whole nother thing. But like he's acting like, hey, you know, you've been carrying the torch for WWE for the past year. You've been doing your thing, but tell Mama Rose I said what's up. I was like, dog, like, did you just sun me on global Netflix, dog? Like, how do we go from you spank me in the rain, dog, and now suddenly you're supposed to be cool? You're supposed to be sharing Terramana in the back? Like, no.
Terramana.
And mind you, Mad Reckless, he over here swigging the Terramana on his Instagram live and then going out driving. That's reckless, Rock. That's reckless.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a great point.
That's Mad Reckless, man.
But we know he pulled over the second he got out of that camera view and got into a car that was trying.
No. Knowing him, he probably, like, of course, this is before everything in LA just went to shit. But like, no, he probably drove out to like whatever LA residence that he has right now, and just like, I'm not like, of course, Inglewood is like kind of out there, so hopefully he didn't have a laundry set. He's a driver. Come get me.
And that's why I think he pulled into somewhere else and was like, all right, driver, tossed the keys to one of his many assistants, and the assistant drove that car probably like another 8 hours.
Hold my piss bottle.
And man, we all knew what was going to happen, but there was a moment I actually thought Roman Reigns could potentially end up losing to Solo Sikoa. And I think it was because of the fact that they took so long for all the, like, you know, chaos to happen and everything. So, yeah. And then especially when KO came out, I was just like,
yeah, that was a nice little turn. I was like, oh, what? Like, because obviously with everything that's going on with him and Cody, it was like, oh, it's nice to kind of, you know, bring that back to why this became a thing in the first place, and KO's deal with Roman, and but like it. For a second, I thought it was going to be there, and then suddenly it's like, I'm not going to say it wasn't a good match. It felt like kind of like a sequel to the Cody versus Roman match from WrestleMania last year, with all the run-ins. But yes. Sidebar. Roman's Kobe's dog.
Yeah,
I've never wanted. I'll take it back. The Kobe 9s are like a special pair of Kobe's for me, and they're actually coming back out with the main high top pair next month, and I got to get my pockets ready for that. but yeah, like yeah, it managed to be like, it wasn't a clean win, but it was a clean win because obviously it was like, okay, spear. We out of here. And then on top of that, you had Mr. Benevolent Executive come back out, and just when you thought that there might have been a moment where it's like, okay, here we go. We about to have Rock versus Roman. He gave him the Ulafala. Said, you the tribal chief. The way they ended that, it was like because of course everyone's been talking about, eventually them getting to Rock versus Roman, but I think the way they ended that, it was like, by and large, I think the bloodline story is kind of over.
I mean,
because like unless they decide to turn another page, I guess with Jacob, like what else is there? Because they pretty much said, okay, it's not going to be Solo, and obviously Jimmy and Jay, they're all back on Roman's side and everything, like, and it doesn't look like we're going to get anything with Rock versus Roman. The way they left it, I think it's over.
And that's crazy to say that the Judgment Day outlasted the Bloodline saga.
Kinda. Well, it didn't, but at the same time, nobody was thinking that it's going to stop now. That's basically, nobody thought, like, you would at least got into WrestleMania at least before they said, okay, let's reassess this.
Yeah, and honestly, even if Roman and all those guys get back, they obviously have to. I don't think they're all together. I think they got together to fight the other people, but I still think they have to like hammer out. Like Rome still has yet to apologize and all those other things.
True.
That's what the focus is going to be on now. And
you never apologized to me, but like I said, it was a very, and of course, kind of fast forward a little bit to the Rock's appearance on NXT.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, of course, I guess the Rock took in all the social media feedback from Monday, and suddenly he's switching things up, saying like, "Hey, trust the ride, bitch," and all that stuff. Like I'm 20 moves ahead and everything. I'm like, dog, like, can we just get something consistent from you? And then on top of that, can you stick to your damn time? Because dog, the live NXT, I think, of course, it was in LA, but over here it was about 9:52. Actually, no, 9:51 when the music first hit. It's on the CW. It's a hard 10 o'clock cut. And like, I think he got in his promo in like 2 minutes. It's like, dog, like, what are we doing here? Because like, he had to get his poses in. He had to milk the Rocky chants. I'm like, dog, like, sometimes, like, I know Ava just like, whenever she's at home, she's like, dog, like you just be doing the
most. And she knows it. And I mean, she's also,
that was the first time, and that's the first time seeing them together on screen as well. And that was interesting. And yeah, I was like, yeah, she just, I know she just be sick of him sometimes. Like, you just be extra for no reason.
And shout out to her. She's gotten really comfortable in her character, and she's now starting. I actually believe that she is in control of the back room now. Like, sounds confident. She sounds self-assured. She's telling, like, she would like stammer when she'd be like, I am the boss. And like, now she's like, bro, back off. And obviously dealing with all ego and having The Rock step in and help too. That is another bump that helps her out as well, even though we know it. But having The Rock be in the same shot of her telling all ego, hey,
you could of course, seeing them together. First of all, you can never say that's definitely his daughter. That's definitely his daughter. Like, there's no need to go on Maury for her.
Like your daddy.
But like, just the little interactions that they had, like the glances and everything, it was like they haven't quite touched it yet. But of course, Rocket was like I'm the final boss, but you want to get along with me, you got to get along with her. And of course, it looks like she was like, yeah, it's me. And just there's I'm sure they won't be able to go that deep into it, but there's definitely, if they wanted to go there, there's obviously a decent story there. And of course it was NXT's highest rated show in like 5 years. So basically since they've been on linear TV, going back to pandemic and everything, and like but yeah, Rock be doing a whole lot, and of course, like he just feels like he can just cuss up everywhere, and it's like, dog, like
I mean, he bought more shares, so yeah, he has an even bigger presence over there. So yeah, he can do whatever he wants, and he can promo whatever he wants.
He can do whatever he wants with them. But of course, you got to remember, keep your times, and two, you can't just cuss everywhere you want to. The CW is not Netflix. Like you need to understand that.
Also, they're like, we're family. We're family.
Like calm your ass down, and like of course, I think both of us were tweeting that night, and somebody has said that like he's probably drunk off his ass, and I was able to watch the actual West Coast feed of NXT. I was like, you know what? I think he is. I'm like, it's like he was just like rambling like at certain points. I'm like, dude, and of course, I haven't seen Moana 2 yet. I don't have a girlfriend with a daughter anymore, so I haven't had to watch children's movies in a long time. But I know this Chihu thing is a thing with the sequel. I'm gonna need him to stop that. That's just that. Like, I don't know who told him that was.
Well, it's the fans. A fan will do it, so he just responds back.
Like, dog. Like,
it's a Moana thing. See, honestly,
yeah. Oh no, it's definitely Moana.
I just thought it was like a new Bloodline thing.
That's definitely Moana.
But now that I know it's Moana, I still don't hate it.
Yeah.
I don't really have a take on it. I don't mind it. Like I was just like
yeah, like the way, like so the way he was, I was like, dog, like he is definitely on that Terramana, probably a little bit of orange juice up in there. I'm like, dog, like, I mean, it could have been worse. It could have been like Jey and Travis Scott. Of course, he said he always smelt it. He wasn't able to delta in it. So, you know, of course, I don't know why Pat McAfee was like that sage. I'm like, it's California. It's a little bit more than sage.
Hey, but you just gotta say it, you know. And that's the new word. You gotta call it sage. I for the music that Travis Scott makes, he really has no aura. Like he was just standing there looking so goofy with that joint. Like the joint is what saved him. And like obviously the good clothes and the music and stuff, but like he does not have aura. He's so awkward.
He's very like if it wasn't for the fashion, he would be very unassuming.
Like it's like, but I love his music though. I really do. It's unfortunate. John Cena. What he's gonna I love the promo. It was a slow build.
So he actually had the perfect promo because, and I'm not sure if I talked about it with you, but like this is something I've been talking about like through most of my different chats and social media accounts and everything. He couldn't just walk up in there and expect to get a title shot because of how they've had him losing for like the last 5 years. And he not acknowledged. I was like, oh, we're going there. And it's something that is absolutely necessary because there's a better story in him acknowledging it and then working his way back. Now, whether it happens through winning the Royal Rumble or just or by chance of him just getting hot at some point in the year, and it's like, hey, we see what's happening. Let's give it a shot. And I think that there's, because of what happened on Monday with Rock and Roman, I think that leaves an opportunity there for possibly Cena to come in the place, and I think I'm making my far too early prediction. I think Cena's winning the Rumble.
I mean, that would be great. I'd be here for it. We can. I'm just gonna say this. We obviously do not have to stay on it, but I love that AEW trying to do this as well with Jeff Jarrett. Because
No,
it is because
I mean it's the same. It's technically the same thing, but at the same time,
oh yeah, but it's not. It's Jeff Jarrett. It's AEW. Like I'm just saying, but like MJF came out and went, I heard you only have 1 year left on your contract, but you want to make it a run for the championship. And so like they're doing the build up for him also, the goodbye to Jeff Jarrett. And that's just like shout out to Jeff Jarrett. Like he's great.
he's a survivor. I'll say that much.
Yeah,
He
but
is
it's
definitely
like
a survivor.
hitting him
Because
up against John Cena, that is a lose-lose all around.
yeah, I mean, because for the most part, Jeff Jarrett was like out of the picture like entirely for a hot minute because like I don't know. I used to listen to his podcast pretty regularly, and like he would talk about a lot, obviously a lot of his days because he's a founder of TNA, and I probably said like the first like decade of TNA, like he's pretty much the front facing person in charge of everything until politics got involved, and but like once he was kind of like out of the picture, like for the most part, he's kind of like been in the wilderness course. He had the thing with he tried to start up another promotion with Global Force that ended very badly, and then he got into the WWE Hall of Fame. He got a job with WWE. That didn't last too long, and then like as soon as he got let go, he ended up over in AEW, which the skills don't go away. I'll say that much. At the same time, I mean, just like with a lot of the people there, you know, if you're going to use them in the ring, use them right. And I don't think that they really have. And of course, now you're at a point where like he is at a point where like he probably is considering retiring, and the momentum isn't quite there. But at the same time, I do feel like he'll be able to make something out of this because he's that good of a storyteller. And you know, like we'll see if they actually make something out of this because I think that it's something that could definitely work out well for AEW if they do it right. It's just a matter of so often they often don't. And but like I said, we'll see. I am at least mildly intrigued, but of course, yeah, it's nothing like Cena. It's like Cena, like he quickly like just reminded people, just like
he knows how.
Even though people are still mad that he left the whole Dr. Thugonomics deal. I mean, he's 40, like he said himself, he's 48 years old. It's like a pasty white rapper at 48. That just ain't it. It's just not.
No, that'd be very awkward. And I see Raw brought in 4.9 million viewers all around the world, 2.6 million households in the United States, which is 116% higher than their average last year, which was about 1.2 million.
And mind you, there's still a lot of countries in Europe and Asia that are still on their basically their domestic deals. So like I think they're missing Japan, they're missing Germany, France. They're still on domestic deals, and so like the number could ultimately get a lot bigger once those deals roll off, and then they're also on Netflix as well. So like it's a very encouraging start for Netflix and Raw. And again, just take the Intuit Dome just everywhere because I mean, like, dog, like you can't. Like I said again, you can't just go back to what's the arena in Des Moines? What's the arena?
We're not doing this. How about how about all of the ads in an adless site? In theory, like if I'm honestly, I don't pay for ads because I know they're gonna like find a way to sneak ads in or make the ad-free version even more like I'll just wait the fucking 30 seconds, and honestly sometimes they forget to play the ads, so like it's not that serious.
So
but, like, if I didn't pay for ads and then I have to watch ads in the wrestling, I'm not gonna lie, I would be upset.
So the funny thing there was that I didn't, of course, I don't even pay for Netflix. That's a whole different deal. But um, I didn't realize that they were doing interviews segments during the ad breaks, and like they had the New Day out for an interview session, and they were dogging out Kendrick Lamar. I was like, oh my god, like this is just absolutely hilarious. And I'm like that's the kind of stuff that like when there's extra content that you're missing, that's the kind of stuff like okay, where there's more stuff that there's there to see. Like that might be stuff that'll entice people to be like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and pay the extra $10 or whatever to get rid of the ads allegedly and get more stuff. I think the one thing that was probably missing, at least for me, you don't really realize it until you don't have it. The picture in picture, it's like, oh,
1,000%. And I will
yeah,
give. They did a lot of picture in picture in NXT, and that's what they definitely do in AEW. And I was like, and just seeing it in AEW and not seeing it in WWE, it's just like there's no reason why AEW is the person who's like leading something, even as simple and minimal as picture in picture. And I bet you probably can't charge the same price. Maybe you have to give them a small discount because it's picture in picture. Who cares? You're making tons of money, but you're doing all of these commercials. It's like they went 30 minutes without doing a commercial, and then it felt like it was a commercial every 10 minutes.
yeah. I mean, like the one thing I did like, at least when they did it, was like the pacing of it was different. Because one thing that's been getting on my absolute nerves the last few years is like you'll introduce a match, you'll have everyone come out, you'll have about a minute or two of action. They'll have some type of break spot, and then they'll be like they'll leave a cliffhanger and then go to commercial. I'm like, can we get some momentum with the match first before you go to break and everything? Like let it go at least 5 minutes or something. But like here they would do the breaks like I think like either like right at the end of the introductions or entrances or like just before the match was starting. But it's still something because obviously with Netflix they're not typically known for having commercials, period. So it's like, you know, I guess you're trying to find a good balance. But like I said, we'll it's definitely a work in progress. But I didn't mind it a whole lot, but I just hated that I missed the extra interviews. I was like, okay.
Same because I saw freaking Blue Sky talking about New Day, and I'm like, what are they talking about? There's nothing. It's on commercial right now. So yeah, that's when I found out that
we're missing stuff, man.
America, we are being forced with the commercials. Gotta love that. Rhea Ripley finally got her title back, and
finally
got her final slam on Dom, so she can move on. Liv and Dom can break up. I think Raquel turns on Liv. It all falls apart for her, and Liv can take a nice little break and enjoy her alt weed.
Yeah. Like, I mean, honestly, I have to give Liv her flowers because I think she made a mountain. She made a whole meal out of this run because all this considered, she should have she should have never lasted this long as champion. But obviously, with Dom and Judgment Day and Raquel, they were able to, you know, give her the necessary tools to extend her run as long as possible until they realize, okay, we got to get back to Rhea. But I would never say like this run absolutely helped her massively, and to the point where like I do feel like while she might not be in the world title picture anymore, or I do think that there's definitely an avenue with the Intercontinental title. Like, of course, this next week they're crowning the first women's Intercontinental champion. So possibly that might be something for Liv to go after for Mania or something like that. But I said, well, I'll say that this went a lot better than I was expecting. But yeah, it was time for it to stop.
Yeah, and hopefully we can move on. I like the mommy with the long hair. I like the evolution that she's going through.
I like the mommy with the everything, so that's
that's fair. That's very fair. Oh yeah, and then the Undertaker coming out and she getting that moment with him. That was
yeah, that. I guess we got to talk about the other thing. We got to talk about the thing from Monday.
Oh, are you talking about when the crowd went?
You suck. Oh man, dog. There were moments in your life that you're just glad that you were allowed to be there to watch, see, and for intents and purposes, I'm gonna let y'all know I have a nickname for this person. It's just Hulk Hogan. And
that Hulk Hogan.
Hogan. Oh ass. Just hearing the boos.
Oh man.
In the Into It Dome.
Well, and what specifically it was, you heard the boos when he first came out, but it was kind of low, and it picked up because basically there were people booing, and then everyone was like,
no, we got to double down on this. Let's double down.
We're booing him. All right, let's go.
Let's go. Oh! Let's go.
I felt like I was like standing up clapping like this was showtime at the Apollo, bro. Like it felt so great. It felt so great.
Listen, like obviously there's been so many people who have opined over this in the past few days, and here's the deal: for those of y'all who might just fortunately be living under a rock and everything, Terry Bollea, aka Hulk Hogan, is a bitch ass, a hoe ass, and it's a racist ass piece of shit. And this is going back to he was involved in a lawsuit about 10 years ago with a homie of his who had a.
We don't really have to go into it.
Oh no, let's get the whole picture, because I feel like this is necessary, because again, people don't understand, and it's like you gotta realize this is a snowball effect. This wasn't just one thing. This wasn't just two things. It's been a steady snowball of bullshit. And what's happened here is that you had a guy that's been given, because of the place that he has in this business, and what he's done is what he's done. I mean, there's no taking that back. However, he hasn't had a match in about a good 10-12 years. Since that time, we have been able to be exposed to basically the real person behind the character of Hulk Hogan, and we realized that Terry Bollea is a racist piece of shit. And because he is also Hulk Hogan, he's been allowed so many opportunities to basically say, hey, I fucked up, I was wrong. And really, he hasn't. Like, matter of fact, Mark Henry came out earlier today, matter of fact, and said, like, he's provided opportunities for Hulk Hogan to go out and let's have a tour of some sorts to reach out to the Black community. He said no. He's had opportunities to apologize publicly. He hasn't. And now with the past year and change, like he had an incident, like when he was selling his beer. Apparently, he had a Black vendor, and he didn't know that she was Black. When he found out, he fired her. And then, of course, with all this stuff with the incoming president and everything, and I'm like, dog, again, it's been a snowball effect of bullshit with this guy going back 10 years. And people are just at a point now, especially because of who he is, it gets more publicized, and you realize, no, this dude has a pattern of racist asshole bullshit, and people ain't fucking with that shit no more. And what's funny to me is that the supposed rumor is that they might try to have him back on as in some type of heel show. I'm like, no. That was not what this reaction was about. It's not what this reaction about. It's like, this was go away.
Yeah,
We
we
don't
don't want
want
to
you
see him
here.
on TV. We don't. There are so many other people that deserve this time and attention. Why are we putting him on? This isn't the bit of nostalgia we
And,
want. I
and
love seeing Jimmy Hart. Like, it's great to see Jimmy Hart. Don't
yeah,
put
like
Jimmy Hart
I,
next to
and I think they actually used him. They used Jimmy Hart because they because somebody knew this wasn't going to go the way they thought it was going to go, and um and I'm pretty sure like Triple H, to his credit, since he has taken over, I think he has used every opportunity he can. Like, hey, y'all might want I want to do this. This is a mistake. Don't do it because like last year was the 40th anniversary of Hulkamania. Um, Typically they would have had under the old man, they would have easily had him on the show. That didn't happen last year. I think the most they got was like a voiceover intro for the Royal Rumble last year. That was it. And like here you are having an opportunity where it's like I'm pretty sure the Netflix people say, "Hey, what about Hulk Hogan? Let's have him on the show." Blah, blah, blah. And that the call to have him on the show was made over Triple H's head. I'm positive, 10,000% positive that's what happened. And like if you even saw like when he came out, like he only made it to like the front of the stage because that dude's fragile. Like like his hips and his back that like it wasn't gonna let him make it to the ring anyway. So it was better off he just did what he had to do. And like of course I can't speak for him, but I think he got a little taken aback. He just pushed through
1,000%,
with the promo. But yeah, like this, like some people might think that this is a sad way to go out, but it's a deserved way to go out because again, when you realize sometimes your heroes ain't shit, this is what happens.
Especially when you find out your heroes ain't shit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I actually never really the whole like America, blonde, like all that stuff. That totally, I did not like that as a kid.
I mean,
I get why people loved it. Like when I saw him on TV shows and Hulk, like I would be like, cool, Hulk Hogan, but he was never like my favorite wrestler growing up.
Yeah, it's funny because I was definitely a Ultimate Warrior guy, kid growing up. Of course, realized he was also another piece of shit as well. But like, I had a debate on Twitter the other day about that. It's like because what people don't realize, especially younger fans who don't realize the idea of what kayfabe is, where basically you ultimately kind of stay in character in front of fans and everything.
I get that's not a thing anymore.
But here's the deal, though. Like he came up in that era, so basically we were led to believe that Hulk Hogan is this guy.
Yeah, that's fair.
And even despite the stuff with the NWO and all that stuff, like for all intents and purposes, we thought Hulk Hogan was the real American hero, fight for the rights of every man. Fast forward to now, you realize it's like that dude won't near close to that shit.
Yeah.
And people want to still give him a pass because he body slammed Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3. And I'm like, dog, no.
Fighting for the rights for the white man.
Yeah, literally. And I'm like, no, like I like there is some shit out here you just don't look over just because you're a big wrestling fan. I'm like as two black men on this podcast, I'm like, you want me to just look over that shit? I'm like, we're black first. This brown skin over here, it doesn't rub off. It's here. So to act like that shit don't happen and be like, yeah, he's still our favorite wrestler. I'm like, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah,
insane.
It doesn't hit anymore either because it's like I feel strong about right and wrong, and I don't take trouble for very long. But also, I mean, it can also be very ominous. Like his song is perfect to like play slowly and turn dark for like a scary movie. Like
if you ever hear like the full cut of that song, like the slow intro, if it's that
it definitely sounds like it could turn into a
murder scene. Yeah.
And then Uso, somehow defeating McIntyre. My dumbass saw him. I was wooed by his entrance because he was just like walking in.
Walking with your boy with the weed.
Yeah. No, not Jay. I was talking about Drew McIntyre. I thought McIntyre was locked in. I was like, I even
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Like, it turned out he wasn't that locked in.
Turns out, and yeah, he was kind of more focused on just doing the damage and destructing and hurting instead of winning.
But you know what though, especially with what happened at the end of the show, I think there's definitely something to be said about, you being so consumed with hate that it you end up losing your way as far as what the actual end goal is. I mean, because I think you can say it with Drew McIntyre, say it with Seth Rollins, you can say it with Kevin Owens. It's definitely a running narrative with all three of them. Maybe they all end up, uniting their powers.
Oh my gosh.
By your powers combined, we are the united forces of hate. Hate. Player haters, player hater 2025.
Oh man, the promos itself. That'd be so great. I would love that. And that would be trouble.
Like, but yeah,
Ada Trios title for them. Do that now.
I mean, there's definitely a running theme there, and it I'll be interested to see like how or even if they bring that all together, because it's easily that one, they were all jaded in some type of way by Roman Reigns. Two, they all have some funky shit with CM Punk, and three, their hate fuels them. It drives them.
I love it. Yeah. What about the match Jey Uso versus McIntyre? I mean, it's kind of proof, because I definitely had the opportunity to move on and kind of thought about moving on, but the match didn't really hit the heights that I thought it could. And the surprise roll up by Jey Uso to get the win, I feel like it kind of perfectly encapsulated the match in itself. That it was what it was, and then it was over.
I mean, here's the deal. Jey Uso, there's a lot to his presentation that's really just all vibes. It really is just all vibes, because as far as like an actual great match, find me a great Jey Uso match. I don't think you can. Like, I think that people get lost in the entrance, and I do think that he has a shit ton of charisma. But as far as like actual match work goes, it never quite curls quite right. And I think that because of how WWE works, he could probably still get even higher than where he is right now, but it won't be anything that will be especially long, because people will ultimately catch up to the fact that, like, yeah, these matches, like, it's a lot of hype, but not a lot of actual substance behind them. And listen, if it works for you, it works for you. But I think that it's something that could easily wear on a lot if you get overexposed to it. And more power to him. Like, Jay's actually made the absolute most out of the opportunity as far as him running solo. So like we'll see where this goes next, because again, I think that with where things are about to going into Mania, there's a lot of space they can go to, but I don't think we have clear answers as of yet as far as where they're going to go.
I mean, we got Royal Rumble, and I'm just very much looking for this Royal Rumble. It's going to be great, because they have a lot of people who legitimately could really use the win and parlay it on to doing some really good things. And even the women's Royal Rumble, because they have a really nice roster.
The women's Royal Rumble is wide open.
Especially with all of the call-ups from NXT that they are people that they brought into NXT. Like the Women's Royal Rumble is going to be fantastic.
I think that, of course, we haven't really got into that yet. To the main part of NXT, we have both new women's champions and new men's champions. I think, especially with Roxanne Perez, I think there's like for the amount of work that she's done in NXT, I think she more than warrants a move up to the main roster, possibly starting with the Royal Rumble. I think that she's the type of woman who the mid-card belts are made for. I think that she's undersized, kind of like Liv Morgan is, and I don't see her.
She's smaller than Liv.
Yeah. I don't see her challenging for a world title right away, but I do see her making her intentions known with the mid-card belts, and then eventually she will challenge for the world title. But I think that her work is absolutely incredible, and I think they intentionally took their time with her because she came in so young, and it's like you don't want to burn somebody that young out before their time. And I think that when they do move her up, it'll be a very good look. And like I said, right now the women's roster in NXT is absolutely loaded. They're going to get even more loaded. Shout out to Shawn Michaels. I mean, you're the real MVP. But I'm looking forward to that. Like the women's Royal Rumble, like there's a lot because like especially now that they've gone ahead and kind of closed the book on Liv and Rhea, it definitely opens things up with as far as where she can go. Mind you, Becky's about to come back, Charlotte's about to come back. We really don't know yet as far as what direct, like you still have Bianca in a tag team role, and like it's only a matter of time before she goes back to being a single. We've been seeing these cryptic posts from Jade Cargill as far as like her being all bloodied up and everything, which actually leads me to believe that it might be it might have been either Naomi or Bianca that attacked her, because I'm like
both.
Yeah. But yeah, like there's a lot of stuff that I think that between now and April, there's a lot that they can go into. Of course, we have Elimination Chamber next month. We have a Saturday's main event like right before the Rumble. I'm pretty sure we'll probably have another one probably at some point before Mania, probably in March. And it'll be very it's a lot of stuff in the air right now that I think makes this season very interesting, because there's no clear path for anybody for once, because it's not nearly as predictable as it has been in past years.
Yes, I'm with you. I am with you. I'm just super excited. Okay, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, like wow, it's it went back and forth. It was heated. It was a brawl at moments, and CM Punk, you got the win.
Which I'm low-key surprised. I'm actually low-key surprised. Of course, I'm a big CM Punk fan. However, I do feel like there is an opportunity where I think that if they wanted to stretch it out to Mania, they could have. And of course, that would have meant Seth would have won here. So I'm a little surprised that he won. I think that obviously that's given the history between these two, which it's often hard to tell like what's real and what's a work and everything, because like they had Seth Rollins on the Chris Van Vliet show over the past weekend. Like obviously they went into a lot of stuff with Punk and everything, and like it's so weird because like just going back to the promo that came last week, and it's weird because it's like you're mad at Punk for having such an issue with the old administration in WWE that he shouldn't have left. And I'm like, there's literally a whole 3-hour podcast that Punk had with his old best friend that kind of lays it out. And not just that, he got sued over that podcast and won. So like you have to understand that his experience probably wasn't the same as your experience. And he had to crawl so a lot of other people could walk and run. And so I don't necessarily blame Punk for having a bit of a jaded take as far as how things went for him, because like he said last week, he had to take a lot of arrows to get to the point where he is now.
Damn.
And it's sometimes it takes a little bit of taking a step back to understand, like, you know what, maybe I was wrong here, maybe you were wrong there. Now we're in a better place to actually do work together. I think that's where Punk and WWE is now, because there's definitely one thing that definitely Seth Rollins was right about was it wasn't just the old man that Punk had an issue with. It was with Triple H as well. And the fact that those two are in a place where they're really on good terms says a lot as far as just where people, what happens when you actually have growth, when you actually go to fucking therapy and you actually just realize, you know what, at this point, I wasn't able to see where things were. It took taking a step back and leaving to realize, you know what, we probably could have handled things differently. Just that we were butting heads too often to get there. And quite frankly, it took going to AEW, seeing how things went on that side, to realize, you know what, WWE ain't that bad, dog. It just ain't. And they were able to come to a place where, like, you know what, let's make this work. And all things considered, I would say that if there was that much of an issue with Punk, they wouldn't let him have the access that they do, because he's down in NXT working with the prospects down there. He's out here doing media. He's out there wearing a fucking suit. You never saw Punk wear a suit in AEW, ever. And he's out here, hair's all nicely groomed. He actually hitting the weights a little bit, like say he's filling out the suit. Like,
he's fit for CM Punk. He's very fit for CM Punk.
It massively. And I'm like, this is something where, like, it took a lot of growth to get there. Now, I said not everybody is. I'm not gonna say it's a case where they don't believe it. It's just the fact of, like, they're not over the fact that he said everything he said. But, like, one, I don't think a lot of what he said was wrong, and two, I don't think that, like, you need somebody like him to just basically keep things in perspective, because it wasn't all good. There's a lot of shit in WWE for a hot minute under the old man that was absolute hot dog water, and nobody would want to recognize it or admit it. And of course, now you have Triple H in charge. You're like, you know what? We actually have some coherent storytelling now, and that's why the shit's working again. Like, at some point, we all hate to admit it, but, like, the things that we used to be able to do well, we might not be able to do as well at some point in time. I think they hit the old man, you know, probably at the point when Punk left, because nothing was right afterwards. And I think that it took having someone who was younger, who had the energy to go into the details like the old man used to make a better product. And that's why things are where they are now. There's more focus, there's more energy, and you can tell it in everything they're doing.
Yeah. I'm with you all the way with that. And before we get out of here, I want to talk a little bit about NXT, because other than The Rock, a lot happened. We had Oba Femi defeat
Yes.
Frank Williams to become the champion. We had
Yes.
Julia defeating Roxanne Perez,
Yes.
champion. Stephanie Becker defeated Cora J, Lola Vice, and Kalani Jordan to become the number 1 seed for the title. And then Lexis King, he is a champion of his own.
The Heritage Cup champion.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed with Lexis King just in
Facial hair alone.
dog. That shit is fucking mess. Obviously, for those who don't know, like that's Brian Pillman Jr., the actual son of Brian Pillman, legendary wrestler from back in the 90s. And when he was in AEW, I don't think he got nearly as much opportunity to really shine like he probably should have. I mean, I think they tried to do something with him because like there was a Dark Side of the Ring episode on his dad, and which he was featuring a whole lot, and they tried to kind of run with that, but of course back then it was even more of a mess creatively, so nothing ever really stuck with him. And when his contract ran out, he obviously there are a lot of people still in the business that have a lot of love for his dad, because when he died, he was on the brink of a lot of dope shit, and we just never got to really see it. One, because he had a really bad car accident that really fucked up his ankle really, really bad, and that led to the drug addiction that ultimately, took his life. But there are a lot of people who have a lot of high favor for him, and that runs off on his son. And I think that we're starting to see what Brian Pillman Jr., aka Lexis King, can ultimately be. I think that there's a lot of potential with him, both in NXT and ultimately when he does get on the main roster. I think he's still tapping into a lot into what could be with him. He's one of the more intriguing wrestlers in NXT. Another AEW expat, Ethan Page, just getting that rub with The Rock says a lot about, because you got to remember, I don't think Ethan Page has been in with signing WWE and been in NXT for I don't think it's even been 9 months.
I was gonna say it's been 6-8 months.
And just the fact he's already had a run as NXT champion. He's already had a couple runs with Punk, with CM Punk on the main roster and in NXT. And now he's having interactions with The Rock. So clearly they see a lot with him that AEW never quite saw. And I don't know if it's them making a point that this is what you fumbled on, but I definitely think that the look was all there. It's just a matter of you just never really saw enough to make him into a bigger deal. And I think that you're about to see it with him. You've seen it with Lexis King, seen it with Jade. You're probably about to see it in a couple weeks with Penta. Looks like he's about to debut on the main roster. It's
a luchador, you say?
Yeah, it's just interesting to see the guys who were trying to do something at AEW and just for X, Y, and Z reason and just never turn, and they get a chance here, and it's they're shining like crazy. And these are guys that you probably could have done a lot more with if your creative was more coherent at the time. But that's just how shit goes as wherever you go.
Facts.
But yeah, Oba Femi about to rule the world on these hoes in NXT.
And Trick is a better chaser than he is a title holder, whereas Oba Femi is a better title holder than a chaser.
I'm not gonna say Trick is a bad chaser.
Well, I mean the belt looks amazing on him. He has it for him, but people really want to cheer for him and believe in him and want to have that even though he's a star, he just fits that whole like underdog, things are stacked against him, things like that. And when he's the champ, like unless he has such a badass person next,
and
I can
and that's just it. And that's just it. Like, I don't think that, especially once you took care of Melo and then Ilya moved up to the main roster, like you had to kind of even like they jump started Ethan Page so quickly to become NXT champion that you were just getting used to seeing Trick as champion, and he's already losing it. And now with Oba Femi beating him, honestly, I don't think there's much left for him to do in NXT. I think that he might be another one that you see. I would like to see him in the Rumble. I don't think they necessarily have to rush him on as far as like, going on the road full time till probably after Mania. Like, I give him that moment at the Rumble so everybody can say whoop that trick at the Rumble, but then probably just have him like work dark matches until like after Mania, and then you roll him out big time and be like, yeah, we about to see how he can cook.
I'm here for that. And Julia, I get where she can be, but obviously there's still a lot of transition to go. She came from a wrestling style where like there's a lot of story that goes into it, and also the crowd, I feel like, understands and does a lot of the work for them and kind of like buys into the wrestling a little bit harder and all that other stuff, whereas American wrestling, you have to earn our like love and support and all that other stuff. And she's getting it, and it's getting better, but like just how everyone lost their minds about her, and then she comes out and I'm like, this little thing is about to come out and be this badass thing, and she's there, and I get it. Oh, but I'm not 100% sold on her. Oh my god, my legs are killing me.
I'm here.
Yeah, and so it's just Julia. She's great and everything, and I'm gonna give her some time because it just feels like Ethan Page. It just feels a little early to be giving it on her. But I mean, if you're getting rid of Roxanne, then it makes sense.
I like what they were doing with Ethan Page. Though I was surprised that they gave the belt so quickly. Here, I think she's getting a lot of credit because she comes from Japan, and for all intents and purposes, WWE has done very well with the Japanese women that they have signed.
Oh, 1,000%.
Very well. However, it's not quite clicking for me just yet, but I do like what she does in the ring, and I'm willing to let that one cook. Like honestly, if it had been up to me, I probably would have gone with. If you're going to have to choose, I probably would have gone with Stephanie Vaquer.
1,000%. And that was going to be my next question: is like, what made them choose Julia over Stephanie Vaquer? Because Stephanie seemed like her, because she's so athletic and the things that she does, it just pops on the screen. She feels more ready now, but I know that people will be more into Julia because she is, the beautiful madness and all that other stuff. But honestly, I'm not too sold on the beautiful madness part. It's like, she's all right.
Yeah. I mean, it'll definitely, I do trust the work that Shawn Michaels is doing in NXT. So I'm sure that they'll get it together. But like I said, we'll see. And of course, like we're in such an interesting time right now when it comes to WWE. You have 3 hours of Raw, 3 hours of SmackDown. You still got the 2 hours of NXT. Like, they've never had given so much airtime to everyone to shine, and it'll be interesting to see like who takes advantage of the opportunity, and then also who stands out on their own to make you pay attention to them. Be like, hey, this is why you should be looking at me regardless of whatever else that you're doing. Like, don't look at them, look at me. Like the was it the Old Spice commercials? Don't look at them, look at me. But yeah, it's the next few months, like this is the time of the year that you look forward to. Like it's a lot that's going to be coming, and because they've already wrapped up on some stories that I thought were going to go to WrestleMania, it really leaves the field wide open as far as where they can go. Facts.
Well, anything else before we get out of here?
Again, love to everyone out in LA. Everybody that's been snowed in, stay warm, stay safe, and if you can help a friend, do that. Again, I know the censors hate to see Rock coming because good Lord, man, like that dude just be doing his own thing. But yeah, I'm excited about the Netflix. There was no buffer issues, at least for me.
Right.
And like the camera work, you could see like every last little goosebump on his arm. You can see all 500 hairs on of the Rock's stubble on his face. And for the record, he looks far better with a beard, so he might want to keep that. So just saying, like, everybody can't be fresh faced like Obama. So you just gotta keep the facial hair. So it is what it is. But yeah, salute to Jimmy Carter, and appreciate your hard work. And yeah, we out here.
Yeah, baby. All right, follow us on all the social medias if we are on it. YFW Podcast. Make sure to rate, review, 5 stars, or what's the point? Say some nice things. We appreciate all of that.
Yeah, the tribe is getting strong on Blue Sky. So, like I said, we see y'all, and we definitely appreciate the love. So, let's keep that thing going.
Let's go. All right, Grego, do the thing.
This is your boy, Crunch Chocolate. I am Grego. This is your favorite wrestling podcast. Until we see y'all again, if you can't be good, be bad.
Be bad, baby.